nobody is responding here. Nevertheless, we can start the demo. So today the session is basically a demo, and in the demo I am going through the curriculum and all other things that we are going to do and that we are going to learn. So let me share my screen and then we can start the demo. So this is something which we are having for today's agenda. So who am I? I already talked about this thing. Then web automation and automation trends in 2021. That we are going to see. Then what this course is all about, we are going to see this. Then what is the curriculum, what are the special features, what is the duration, what are the prerequisites, webdriverio versus Selenium driver, this kind of comparison we are going to do. And at the end, some job aspects, and I will take the question and answers. So in a nutshell, that will be the agenda for today's demo, right? So I already talked about myself. I am here with Isha Training Solutions now more than 3 years, and 13 years of experience in total in software industry and 10 plus years experience in trainings. And till now, I have trained more than 300 students on various automation topics. So now coming to the web automation, what web automation is, I think all of you are acquainted with this fact that web automation is nothing but it's a kind of a process by which we are letting our certain kind of robots to make some predefined actions, tasks, and processes on a web browser or a web application. For example, it's very simple. Like if you are having a web application, right, and you want to go to particular URL, so how you are manually doing it, you are opening the page, you are typing the address, and then you are verifying something, like you are clicking on something, you are entering some text, and so on. So these are the things we are verifying it manually. But doing all those things with that same tool, or doing all those things with tool, or with doing all those things with rather than manual, doing all those things with tool is known as automation, right? So sometimes these are small robots or the agents which are doing this, so that is known as robotic process automation. Apart from this, if we are having a dedicated tool which is acting as a interface between you and then you and the final application, then it's basically a web automation, right? So this is basically the definition of web automation. Now, coming to the automation trends in 2021. So whatever the trends we are having in 2021, these trends are depicting the thing that mostly, I'm saying it mostly, the automation is divided into two parts, the front-end automation and the back-end automation, right? And the front-end automation, if you can see, then you can see from this picture, the trends which are coming in 2025, 2021, JScript is getting a lead. So 62.5% of the automation applications for the front end, they are now being automated in JScript. So that's why JavaScript comes with a lot of its own advantages, lots of compatibilities. That's why JScript automation, UI automation, front-end automation is getting much more speed. And if we talk about the back-end automation, which is mostly done by Python and Java. So there is a quite competition between Python and Java, though Java is right now leading with 39.7% of the application, of the backend application, they are automated Java versus 32% of the application which are automated in Python, right? And JScript is obviously front-end application, like it's leading right now. 62.5% of the applications, they are being done in the front end. So what is the reason JScript is getting its own pace, or JScripting is now so much familiar, so much prevalent? What's the reason for that? Any one of you can think about some of the reasons why JScript is getting this pace?
Yeah, Gaurav, recently, all the companies, they are trying to put like part of the logic on the presentation layer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is all enabled using JavaScript.
And what are the languages which are helpful for putting this logic?
In my project, they are using React.
React and Angular. Perfect.
Only React, yeah.
Only React, yeah, but I'm telling you, like
Oh,
Angular is
Angular.
also
Okay.
mostly used by a lot of people. So this is pretty much the logic, like whatever the answer was given by Srinivas, that's a perfect answer, because right now Angular and React, they are spreading like anything, especially the React. If you see the front-end technologies or the front-end applications which are being in React, you can see a sudden sharp from 2019 to 2022, like it's a sudden sharp which clearly depicts that React as a technology or AngularJS as a technology, they are increasing a lot. And that's a simple reason. When the application is being developed in a React or AngularJS, most of the time it's also assumed that the technology stack for the testing or automation would remain the same. I have seen very less cases when the application is written in React or it's written in Angular, and some people are writing some test cases in Java with the Selenium WebDriver. Although this is possible, but very less cases of such kind of things has been seen. So that's why we are changing the technologies on which we are building the application, and this in turn changing our psychology towards testing as well. So that's why the front end testing mostly it's coming with JScript. Mostly it's coming with JScript, and we are using tools which are JScript compatible, such as Cypress or WebDriver.io. Okay. Now, what this course is all about? This course is about learning JScript. So 35% of this course will be learning the JScript, and then learning about the WebDriver will be Rex 65%. Rather, I would say it's 40 to 60%. 40% of the focus we are putting on learning JScripts, like the basic syntaxes, the basic things, and rest 65% we are putting focus on. 60% we are putting focus on WebDriver.io. While learning WebDriver.io, we are learning the WebDriver.io in perspective of creation of a framework and automation principles. When I'm talking about creation of principle, we'll talk about how BDD can be implemented, CI/CD can be implemented, and what kind of reporting mechanism we can implement. And automation principles, whatever the automation principles we are going to provide, that are also included in this course. Okay, so the segregation is more or like 40 to 60. 40% is learning on JScript related things. Might be there will be some classes which are very dedicated to learning JScript initially, and then rest 60% we will learn about WebDriver.io framework and automation principles. Now coming to the course curriculum, so the course is divided into in this way. So the first thing is basic concepts in the JScript. We will learn about the different kind of variables and the constants and data types and operators, arrays, functions, anonymous functions, arrow functions, callback functions, what object-oriented programming in JScripts look like. We will talk about maps, we will talk about sets, like kind of a collections, and then we will also talk about promises, and then we will also talk about local storage versus session storage. So these are the basic concepts that I will try to complete as a part of this curriculum for JScript, right? Then we will see webdriver.io.setup, how we can make it, how we can set up the webdriver.io, and then it will be what are the different kind of selectors which are available, how we can identify the elements. So what is the locator strategies that is available with WebDriver.io? What are the trades off with respect of different locator strategies that we are using? We are going to cover this. And then another important aspect is interaction with the web element. So once we identify what kind of web elements we are having, another important thing is to how to interact with them. So how to click something, how to type text something, radio buttons, how to handle that, drop downs, checking checkboxes, so on, how to handle the tabs, pop-ups, and so on. So all those things will be covered in this chapter, which is interaction with the web elements. Then we are going to see different kind of weights. What are the different kind of weights which are available in WebDriver.io? And then we will also going to see some custom functions and the automation flows. So in this, we are going to take one application which we would like to automate, and then we will read about some custom functions, what we want to make by our own need, and how to customize the functions. So how to customize some operations which you are already having in WebDriver.io. And then we will also see that how we can automate some very basic flows with the help of WebDriver.io. So till this point, we are acquainted with the fact that how the basic flows will be automated, right? After that, we will study about the page objects. What are the page objects? How we can create the page objects in terms of JavaScript, or especially for the WebDriver.io framework. And then we will study about the creation of the framework, where we will talk about BDD, chai for assertions, reports, page object integrations, and text execution in parallel. So all those things we are going to see. And at the end, we are going to see some CI/CD implementation. CI/CD implementation is we are using Jenkins as a tool, and we will see how the test cases which are written in WebDriver.io, they can be integrated with CI/CD. So this is more or less the course curriculum. right? And especially when we are doing this section, custom functions and flow automation, here we are going to writing some scripts. So for these writing the scripts, we are taking certain kind of websites, and I will try to make it give you some practical scenarios and also some scenarios which are very much related with the exact work. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to give you the website URL, right? And then I am going to give you some software specifications document, SRS. And based on that, first you have to write the manual test cases. First you have to document the manual things, and then we will try take it from there. We will try to automate them. So here the automation is done, and whatever the automation we have done in this part, here we will try to do this automation with page objects, and whatever the automation we have done in this part, we will try to create a framework out of these things in this section, right? So in a nutshell, what is this? It is the first point is to understanding the requirements and creating the automation scripts. Second part is creation of the automation scripts with the help of page objects. And the third part is creation of the framework, right? Whatever till here we have understood, we are going to implement the same with the help of frameworks, right? We are going to create a framework based on all these things which are mentioned here in this section. And then at the last, we are going to see the CI/CD implementation. So anyone who would like to start with WebDriver.io, the basic challenge is acquaintance with the language. So sometimes, JavaScript is having a different kind of syntaxes and the way of writing the JavaScript and having the dependencies in JavaScript and including the dependencies and so on. So environment is different, how to run the test cases and so on. All these things, even the editors, they are also different. So all those things are a bit new. So that's why, first of all, we have to study about the basics of the JavaScript, so that at least we know what JavaScript is all about and how we can accommodate different kind of things in JScript. Once this thing is done, we are good to start our tool. And in these sections, like in this section, this section, this section, they are more about for the tools and different kind of mechanisms associated with the tool. And here we will write our automation scripts with the help of tool. And at the end, we will try to create some framework for completion of this course. So that will be the, in a nutshell, the course curriculum. So there are certain kind of special features which are associated with this course. The first is live project demonstration. So we are going to take a live production site. So for this, usually I'm taking some sites which are already in production, so that you can be acquainted with this fact that whatever automation you have not done it on some demo site, or you have not done it on a customized site, because usually there are a lot of customized sites which are quite easy to automate. So here we are going to take an example of a live site on production. For example, usually I'm taking hostelworld.com. So it's basically a site which is in production, and it's just some one of the random sites which I like and which I am giving to my students to automate. So we can take hostelworld.com. So whatever we are doing, we were taking the examples from hostelworld.com, live projects and demonstration and so on. We are going to understand about Cucumber because we are going to implement a BDD here in this framework. So this is also a special feature. Then I will also teach you the CI/CD related concepts like Jenkins, how we can integrate the pipeline with Jenkins and so on. There will be certain kind of interview question set which will be given at the end of this course. So by the end of this course, if you would like to go for an interview, probably you can use the interview question set which will be given at the end of this course. Then JavaScript knowledge is also included in this course. Some mock interviews are also included this course, but usually they are on demand. It's not mandatory because some of the students want it, some of the students don't want it. So it is something which based on your discretion. It's on demand. If you say you want some mock tests based on the curriculum which you have gone through, I can take the mock interviews. If you don't want that, then it's fine. Afterwards, we are going to see all the code in the Git. So whatever the code is there, we will put this code in Git, right? And I will also tell you how to put your code in the Git. And then project specification for resume, that's I'm going to give you. Like if you are doing this course, what kind of requirements you can put on your resume. Then course completion certificate will be given to you from Isha Training Solutions. And then at the end, you will also be given the recorded videos so that you can see how everything is going on. Now the question is, what is the duration of the course, right? So the course duration is approximately 30 minutes. Usually course classes are happening between 8 to 9 p.m. IST, which is 16.30 CET CST. Usually it is not 16.30 CET CST, rather you can take it 17. So usually it is 1700 CET CEST, which is coming to your time. In winters, it is coming to 9:30 IST, or in summers, this is coming to 8:30 IST. And this 1700 CET is actually 1600 UK time. So participants in UK, for you, it's 1600, participant in Europe, 1700, and participants in India, in summers it is 18:30, or in winters it's 9:30, because the difference between the CET and IST varies from 3:30 to 4:30, right? And classes, this is not Monday to Thursday exactly. We will see like how many participants are interested. Based on that, we will create a frequency. So right now I am planning it to have the classes on Sunday and Monday, but again, we can increase it or decrease it based on the availability of the students. So first of all, we will see how many participants are interested. Based on that, we will make a cadence out of it. Okay. Next are the prerequisites. So another question is, what are the prerequisites for this course, and what kind of things you must have for coming to this course? So prerequisites are very simple. You must be acquainted with the manual testing. You know testing as a as an art, or testing as a profession. So if you have already experience with a QA engineer or a manual tester, that's the best fit. So that is one of the main thing. And then you can what kind of bugs are there, what kind of how you can identify the defects, how you can write the test cases. That's quite good. This is one of the prerequisites. And some basic programming skills. So basic programming skills is something like you have some ability to code in certain kind of languages. I'm not saying in JScript. If you are frequent in C or C++ or C sharp, maybe in Java, that's also fine. So when I'm saying about basic programming skills, I just want to get you acquainted with very, very basic concepts, like what are integers, what are variables, right? And then how the looping is going on, how looping works, all those things, just very basic things. So how loop works in Java, how loop works in C, C++, anything like in any language. If you are knowing this, then it's good. So that is a kind of prerequisites. Other than that, language specific things like JScript related things, we are going to start from the scratch. So we are going to start all those things from the scratch, that what kind of editor we can use for JScript, how we can execute certain kind of programs, what are the variables, what are the different kind of constants or variables in JavaScript and so on. So all those things we are going to see in the class itself. So there is no additional knowledge or a prerequisite which is associated with that. And lastly, what's the difference between webdriverio and a webdriver? Right, so WebDriver is a kind of a term that is being used with Selenium, and WebDriver IO is term which we are going to learn here. So WebDriver IO is an implementation of Selenium and completely written in JScript. So usually WebDriver implementation, this implementation is a kind of a library which is written in Java, and WebDriver IO is the JavaScript version, JavaScript.JScript version, or the JScript implementation of the same thing, right? So it is very useful. WebDriver IO is very useful for the developers who are writing the code in Angular and React, that we have already talked about, and it's quite concise if you compare it with WebDriver. It is easily extendable. That is another feature associated with this, and this can be easily integrated with JUnit frameworks like Mocha and Chai. So Mocha and Chai are kind of the assertions libraries which can directly work with WebDriver IO. So that is one of the essential feature or the characteristic of WebDriver IO. Then unit test, E2E test can be written easily without having much dependency on the language, right? And it can be used for web and mobile. That is another very important feature for WebDriver IO, and it is having the flexibility of some advanced scenarios. So all those things, for example, WebDriver, if you are talking about this Selenium WebDriver, then WebDriver is just working on web. It is not working on mobile. But the advantage with the WebDriver IO is it's a JScript implementation. It can work with both mobile and it can work with both web. right? In the same way, for WebDriver IO, we have a concept of advanced selectors, but for WebDriver, Selenium WebDriver, we are not having advanced selectors, right? So in WebDriver, Selenium WebDriver, how you can identify the element, you can identify it with the help of ID or CSS, XPath, and so on, but you are not having some advanced selectors. In case of WebDriver IO, we have a flexibility of having those advanced selectors as well, right? Coming to the third point, Selenium WebDriver is mostly used to write the A to E test, end-to-end test. End-to-end tests are certain kind of tests which are having UI, which are having UI in the in the core, like which are UI in nature. But WebDriver IO is something where you can write E to E and unit test both. So here, with the help of WebDriver IO, you can write end-to-end test as well as you can also write the unit test and so on, right? For WebDriver, you are using a unit testing framework like JUnit or TestNG, right? These are the frameworks that can be easily integrated. With WebDriver IO, there is a different kind of JUnit frameworks, and these are Mocha and Chai. So these are the assertion libraries which are basically used in JScript. So you are using Mocha, you are using Chai, and so on. So that is also one of the difference. Then WebDriver is not easily extendable, rather WebDriver IO is easily extendable. If you want to extend it, then WebDriver IO is easily extendable. Another thing is WebDriver IO is very useful for Angular and React kind of languages. And WebDriver is not so useful with Angular and React libraries, because in WebDriver IO, there are specific kind of features, specific kind of functions which are written while considering that the application will be Angular or React. So there are, once we will read WebDriver IO, we will read about specific selectors, we will read about the specific functions, and the importance of these functions and these things is that they are specifically written that they can be, they are specifically written in such a way so that they can be used with Angular and React, right? So this is one of the major advantage. But for WebDriver, Selenium WebDriver, there is no advantage or some added advantage which is related with some Angular or React related languages. So that is also a kind of a difference. So I think now it's very you are in a situation to understand the basic differences between WebDriver and WebDriver.io, so that you are not getting confused. And at the last, there are certain kind of JDs. So most of the JDs, they are asking for you that you must be having some exposure of automation, and then they are specifying the tools like WebDriver IO or Selenium WebDriver, and then related with APIs, they are writing something like REST Assure and so on. And then they are saying you have must be having good understanding of manual testing, agile testing. You must be acquainted with Java or JavaScript and so on. So right now you can see a lot of jobs where they are asking about WebDriver IO, they are asking about JScript, they are asking about Java, and so on, right? So I have just put some JDs based on some my research, and in most of the JDs, it is very common that they are asking you some tools which are related with Java or JScript. And for Java, they are mostly asking for Selenium WebDriver, and for JScript, they are asking for WebDriver IO. So even if you are going to the job portals, you can see a lot of vacancies there which are related with WebDriver IO and JScript. Yeah, so that's all about the demo, and it's a time for the questions. So any one of you, any kind of question which you are having related with the topic, or which you are having related with the curriculum or anything, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, yes, Gaurav. Yeah, the syllabus looks very good. Okay, yeah. And one question is, so this WebDriver IO, can it be used to automate Android and iOS
Yes,
UI?
yes, yes. It can be used to automate the in the Android platform and iOS platforms as well. So it is working on mobile.
Okay, okay. So we don't need to learn anything like APM and all after this.
See, there are two different things. The one thing is the native apps, and the one thing is the mobile version of something. So, for example, if you are having some website, right, and you are trying to open this website on a mobile, so that is known as a mobile site. So, WebDriver IO is used to automate that mobile site,
Okay.
not the native apps. If you are having certain kind of native apps, then this tool is not helpful.
Okay, so for native apps, again, the company should be using APM, right?
Yes, you have to think about that, like which tool fits best for your.
Okay.
But even in a case of Selenium WebDriver, like if you are using WebDriver, with the help of WebDriver, you cannot automate a website on mobile. If the website is running on mobile, you cannot use Selenium for that purpose.
Yeah,
So this
okay,
is one
got
of
it.
the
Yeah.
advantage which is associated with WebDriver IO, that it can at least automate the websites, mobile sites which are being open on mobile with the help of this tool. So that is one thing ahead of Selenium, what I can say.
Yeah, yes, Gaurav. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. Anything else apart from this?
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
One is what is the future of WebDriver IO, and secondly, will this course include integration with Excel spreadsheet and other dependencies and libraries we can use with WebDriver IO?
First of all, would it be possible to give your introduction? And also, I would like to know what are the, because initially we conducted this session, but you are a bit late. So I would like to know what are your expectations by the end of this course?
Yeah, sure. So this is Milap. I'm from US, and currently I'm working on WebDriver IO project. And I have experience of like manual testing, Java and Selenium WebDriver based automation testing.
Mhm.
But I'm like, you can say I'm working on this WebDriver IO for past 7 to 8 months.
And what's your feeling about that? How you are you satisfied with the tool, or you still think you have to learn a bit more, or?
I would say like already know basic stuff, basic
Mhm.
to intermediate, but
Mhm.
I like to learn from intermediate to the advanced level.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thanks for this introduction. And coming to your question, so the first question you have asked is about the Excel sheets, right?
What is the future of the WebDriver IO, and second, like how we can like deal with the Excel spreadsheet with the text file and other libraries and dependencies we can use with the WebDriver IO.
See, coming to your first question, future of WebDriver IO. So I am assuming more and more applications are written in JScript, more and more applications are now developed in Angular or React. And then when application is written in Angular and React, the basic choice which is left for people right nowadays is either to automate in WebDriver IO or to use Cypress. These are the very dominant tool right now in the market, right? Selenium WebDriver is something which is now losing the market and getting a bit obsolete in terms of what that in terms of in terms of the fact that more and more applications are now built in Angular and React. So as soon as developers are more Angular friendly or React friendly, and the front end is more written in Angular and React, it is also a fact that usages of WebDriver IO and usages of Cypress, they will also grow from day by day, right? So future in that sense is quite bright, because you can see the trends also in 2020, 2021, the number of applications that are built on React, they are increasing drastically. So there's a keep steady going, rising trend, which is saying that applications are more and more are now written in React and Angular. So that's why the tool is having a very bright future. There's no doubt in it. And coming to your second question, that integration with the these Excel sheets and other files. So yes, that's quite possible. That you can interact with the Excel files or the TXT files and all other things. The only thing is you have to identify the appropriate libraries which can be associated with WebDriver IO. So usually for reading the text from Excel sheet, when we are using Cucumber, then we are using certain kind of scenario outlines for giving those kind of inputs. So as a part of the course curriculum, when you are reading Cucumber, then there is no as such need to integrate it with the Excel sheet. But yes, as you have Apache or the this certain kind of libraries, Apache libraries, which are being used to read some text from Excel, or something like that in Java. In the same way, there are certain kind of libraries which can be integrated to the JScript solution, and by which they are enabling you to deal with the files, to deal with the Excel file, or to deal with the text file, and so on. So that option is there for sure. Any other question from anyone's side?
So this course is going to take 2 months?
It's most probably 25 to 30 hours. So it depends like on what frequency we are meeting. So if we are doing it from Sunday to Sunday, then I have to extend, the Sunday classes to 2 hours or something like that. So yeah, but basic intent is just assume that 2 to 3 hours. So most probably we can also do it on Saturdays or maybe on Friday and Sunday. We can do it something like this. So if we are doing in Friday and Sunday, again the thing is that like 25 hours, and every week we are doing around 2 hours, like one on Friday, one on Sunday. So again, in the same way, like it's going to take that amount of months. But in general, like just 25 to 30 hours approximately.
Yeah, Gaurav, just one more question.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
previously I went for a training on Selenium WebDriver with Java, and I realized that the code and all sometimes all the object-oriented concepts they are very scary, and we need to keep revising them. So how is this JavaScript language compared with Java? Is it too difficult or is it the same level like Java?
Well, it depends, what to what extent you are using the language, but for the tool basically, like if you want to use it for WebDriver IO and you want to use the JScript for tool perspective, it's bit simpler, what I would say. So it's not as complicated as Java. The using of JScript in that terms is bit simple. The only thing is you have to be acquainted with the syntaxes and all. Otherwise, it's
Yeah,
it's
that's
simple.
better. Yeah.
Any other thing where I can help?
And a general question, Gaurav. So, are you offering any other courses apart from this?
Well, I already had the course for Appium. That was quite, I think 1 year, not 1 year, but rather one in 2019 and one in 2020 and one in 2021. So for this year, I am also going to start the Appium related thing, but I am not sure like what's the time is best fit for that.
Yeah, yeah, sure, Gaurav. Yeah, maybe you can let us know later. Yeah.
Yeah. So Srinivas, you are from UK, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I have your number, and whenever there is something, I will let you know about that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
sure,
sometimes
sure.
it
Welcome. Yeah.
also depends that how many students are interested in joining the course. So sometimes it's the creation of the batch and everything. So it's like that. I am interested in having the batches, but the number of students which are going to attend this class is a bit lower. So then for that reason, we have to skip it, and we are waiting till the time we have a good chunk of the people who can join the course. So sometimes these factors are also there, but I will keep you posted for Appium or any other thing which is coming next.
Yeah, yeah, sure, Gaurav. Yeah, thank you.
Santosh, any question from your side? I'm not sure who is this NPM, but any question, Santosh, from your side?
Yeah, can I have your 5 minutes after this call, please?
Sorry?
Can I have 5 minutes of your time after this call?
Yeah, so you are okay, sure, we can have. You can call me on my WhatsApp number. I think you have it.
I don't. Maybe it's okay if you want me to connect on this same bridge.
Okay. Uh, Okay, then I think that's all for today's session, and thanks for attending this. And soon we will let you know about the next things and the next steps which are there. So yeah, you can always contact Isha Training Solutions for further inquiries and comments. And thanks once again, and you will get this recorded session on your email.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you.